Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is John Hardy. I'm Assistant Principal at Petrock. Emily, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's Emily. I'm the Lead Industry Placement Coordinator here at Petrock.
Yeah, what we're both going to do this evening is talk you through what T-levels are, what they involve, and what they can offer you. So if we could go through to the next slide, please, Joe. Joe's from our marketing team. She's going to be helping us go through this presentation. So thank you, Joe. So in terms of what are T-levels, so you've probably seen some of the adverts on TV or on the internet for them. They're brand new, level 3, 2-year vocational qualifications. They are aimed at being the gold standard for vocational education and training. Anyone that's looked at the syllabus for these will know that these are a hard level 3 qualification. They are academic, but they also combine that with a really, really strong level of industry placement, which Emily will talk about a bit later on. And they're kind of what we kind of call a reverse apprenticeship. So apprenticeship, you might consider a student to be in the workplace 4 days a week and in college 1 day a week. The T-level students are likely to be in college 4 days a week and in the placement 1 day a week, apart from education and childcare, where we've got a slightly different model where they're 6 weeks in and 6 weeks out. And these are really aimed at producing the next level of talent for employers for the future. So it's aimed at training up people ready for level 4, 5, 6, and 7 qualifications, which basically means degree level qualifications in their sector, so we can have a highly skilled workforce for the future. We go to the next slide, please, Joe. So in terms of A-levels, kind of where they sit, the government's designed them so we've got 3 different qualifications which will be in operation in about 10 years time, likely, and we're just at the start of the rollout of these now. So we've got A-levels for purely academic based subjects, T-levels for people that want to undertake that vocational training, and apprenticeships for people that want to work and earn money at the same time, although you can earn money on a T-level work placement, but I'll probably just stolen one of Emily's slides from later. And we're looking at that progression onto HE, so you do get UCAS points, skilled, highly trained employment, or higher degree apprenticeships and more training. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So these are the range of different T-level subjects that we are offering from September onwards. So you can see quite broad, so they can be kind of defined by construction, digital, health and science, or education and childcare. They all have a substantial work placement and a range of different assessments, which I can go through onto the next slide. So in terms of technical qualification, there's a core element to it and an occupational specialism within that. So you might study education and childcare as the core, and the occupational specialism within that might be teaching and learning. It might be assisting teaching and learning. It might be working with young people. So there's a range of different things you can get involved with, and that's around about 80% of your course. And then 20% of your course is that industry placement, which is on the shop floor, doing the job, learning and developing while you're on that. This isn't work experience like making a cup of tea in the office or anything daft like that. This is about stretching and challenging your skills and improving you in the workplace. There's also English and maths requirements around it as well. But that is a core entry requirement for students. So we anticipate you to get that qualification, but to develop your skills while you're on the course. Thank you, Joe. So in terms of the UCAS tariff, you can see the equivalent UCAS points, and that the distinction star point is equivalent to A's at A level. So the government has clearly pitched this as being at the same academic level as of Ofqual, and it is aimed at providing students with university access if that's the right progression route for them. There are those high degree apprenticeship routes as well, which we're keen to support our students and our local businesses with. If we go to the next slide, please. So in terms of the entry requirements, GCSE Maths and English are a requirement. Now, the reason for that is if anyone finishes their T-level without a grade 4 or above in GCSE English and Maths, then you fail the whole thing. And we feel that we could be setting students up for a bit of a rough time if we did that. So we want students starting their journey on a T-level to have those grades already, meaning they have fewer barriers to achieving their T-level. Also making sure they've got the right skill set to succeed and they're on the right level course for them. There's also, dependent on the T-level, you'll have other GCSE grades that you'll need to achieve as well. For instance, science, you need to get your science grades at least 5 or above. You also need to be really, really keen on the sector. That seems pretty obvious to state, but it's just to kind of really clearly state that if you do want to go into education and childcare, you are going to be doing work experience with young people, and you will want to be keen and enthusiastic about that. If we go to the next one, please, Joe, and I'll hand over to Emily.
Yeah, thank you. So an industry placement might be a term that you haven't heard of before this presentation. It's a specific type of work experience placement that, as John said, is integral to a T-level. So over the 2 years of your course, you'll have the opportunity to participate in a 315-hour placement, which is the equivalent to roughly 45 days in a workplace. So an industry placement is a great opportunity for you to put the knowledge and skills you've been developing during your T-level to practice in a real workplace. So on an industry placement, you'll be treated like a member of the team by receiving a full induction into the organisation, and you'll have a line manager to report to you, so they'll give you projects and different tasks to work on, and you'll have a mentor who will support you with adjusting to the workplace. You can be matched with more than one local organisation for your T-level, allowing you to reach the amount of hours required with 2 businesses if that's necessary. You can see on the current slide that we've added a number of organisations that we're currently working with. So, for example, we've got Northern Devon Healthcare Trust, the Citizens Advice Bureau, Cherry Design Architects, amongst some others. If you go on to the next slide, please, Joe. So when you study with us, you'll have lots of options for receiving support while you're completing your T-level. We have a growing team of industry placement coordinators who will help to source and match you on a placement. Our team will support you with preparing for your placement, ensuring that you're comfortable with where to go and who to ask for, as well as being on the other end of the phone or on campus when we can, if you have any questions or worries. We also have a designated bursary to assist T-level students with their industry placement expenses. This can include travelling to and from placement. We also have an amazing tutor support team, and they can also support you with any concerns that you might have. Go on to the next slide, please, Joe. So we've been trialling placements for a few academic years now. So pictured on the screen here, you can see a formal level 2 and 3 engineering student. He completed industry placement with Eton Aerospace, which is based in South Molton, and then he went on to be hired there as an apprentice with them. So that's a really nice progression story there. And the second quote you can see there is from a previous student who's now studying sociology at the University of Leicester. She was really interested in social work and policy making, so her placement with Citizens Advice Bureau really helped her to get there. And if you could go on to the next one, please, Joe. So here are a couple of questions that you might be thinking about now. Am I expected to find my own placement? If you want to source your own industry placement, then we will absolutely support you with this and give you the tools and guidance that you might need to give the organisation all important details. Our team of industry placement coordinators will be sourcing industry placements, so it's not a requirement that you source your own. When will the industry placement happen? So this is dependent on the industry and the organisation more specifically, so the occurrence of a placement can vary. The placement can be undertaken as a block over college holidays or as individual days over the duration of your course. So this depends on your timetable and the availability of your organisation. I think that's just one more slide. And lastly, we often get asked, will I be paid? You could have the opportunity to partake in a paid placement. However, this isn't a requirement from our local businesses, and it is totally up to the employer. But as I mentioned, there is a bursary to help for some of your travel expenses, so we can support you with that. I think that's all from me.
Thanks, Emily. So hopefully that was very useful for you. If you've got further questions, the next steps for you would be to look at the areas you're interested in for a T-level, go onto our website, apply. Then you'll be talking to a sector specialist who will be running the T-levels next year, and they'll be able to answer your questions around the qualification, the assessments, the types of work placement you may be able to attract and get onto and go from there. But thank you very much for your time and hope it's been useful.
Thank you.